The stars outside the viewport glowed cold and indifferent as the Black Claw Marauder drifted silently through contested space. Inside the command deck, the air was thick with the smell of scorched metal and oil, the signature scent of a ship that had seen too much war and lived to carry the scars. Commander Rax stood unmoving, his gloved hands clasped behind his back, gaze locked on the blinking data streams crawling across the main display. A man carved from war, his bald head bore the faint sheen of recycled light, and the red eye of his cranial augment glowed with a low, steady pulse. "Unidentified vessel approaching from Subsector 9, reported Ferric, hunched over a cracked terminal, voice dry and emotionless. Years in the void had leached all inflection from him. Same strange signature as the last encounter. Minimal heat, no ID broadcast. Looks like another Deathworlder design." Rax's jaw tightened. He didn't flinch, didn't blink. But a pause, barely a second long, betrayed that something beneath his armor of calm had stirred. "Bring it up on visual." The main screen flickered, then sharpened into clarity. A ship unlike any they'd catalogued hung in the dark like a predator waiting for motion. Sleek, matte hull. No lights. No decals. No weapons visible, but that meant nothing. The Deathworlders didn't build ships for intimidation. They built them to survive. "No one's that quiet unless they want to be," muttered Juna, the youngest on the bridge, her voice hitching with a twinge of unease. Rax didn't respond. He stared. 3 cycles ago, they'd laughed at the first whispers. Primitive freaks from a backwater planet, born on a death trap of a world. Strong, yes. Fast, maybe. But nothing a plasma bolt couldn't fix. Then came the massacre of the Crimson Blades. 12 hardened merc ships, reduced to slag. Then the signal from the Crayon Syndicate, garbled and full of screaming. And then silence. The contract came from high up. An anonymous client offering platinum-grade pay to intercept, board, and destroy a Deathworlder surveyor's ship rumored to be mapping disputed territory. Easy work, they were told. Easier still for the Black Claws. "Bring us into intercept range," Rax ordered finally, voice like gravel ground through steel. "Full cloak. No emissions. Are we really doing this?" Ferric asked, not looking up. "We were hired. We deliver." Rax turned. "Unless you're proposing we run?" The silence that followed was louder than an explosion. No one ran. Not on the Marauder. Not if they wanted to live long enough to die in battle. "Lock down decks 3 through 6. Load pods. Full boarding teams ready in 15. Rax barked. The crew scattered. Rax remained. Outside, the Deathworlder's ship hung in space unmoving. Waiting. Down in the loading bay, armor hissed and clamped around bodies like steel coffins. The boarding squads moved with brutal efficiency. None of them spoke. Some prayed. Most didn't bother. Kor, second in command, checked the mag locks on his rifle with methodical calm. His face bore the twin scars of close combat survival, once against the sandworm, once against the Korlak raider. He tapped into Rax's channel. "What are we walking into?" Rax hesitated a beat before responding. "Something new. Something dangerous." "Good." Kor's smile was cold. As the pods launched, streaking silently through the black toward the Deathworlder's ship, tension on the Marauder's bridge thickened. Juna watched the screens, the dots representing their men creeping closer to the target vessel. No motion. No defense grid. Just silence. Then, one by one, the dots blinked out. "No explosions," Ferric whispered. "No weapons fire," Juna added. "Just gone." "Patch me into their feed," Rax snapped. Only static. Then a burst of visual, 3 seconds of horror. A hallway lit with stuttering emergency lights. Shadows moving too fast to track. Screams. Then the last frame, a figure, tall and humanoid, covered in a reactive exosuit that rippled like oil. Its eyes glowed white-hot. Then blackness. "Cut feed," Rax ordered quietly. "Commander, that," Ferric began, but Rax raised a hand. He turned slowly, deliberately, and looked each bridge officer in the eye. "This is not a raid. This is not a skirmish. This is a message. We were bait." "A trap?" Juna's voice cracked. "A test," he said grimly. "And we walked right into it." Silence blanketed the bridge again, only this time it was shaped by fear. Not the fear of pain. Of something worse, irrelevance. For killers, nothing was more terrifying than the thought that they were outmatched. Rax moved to the command console, hands flying over the surface. He initiated an emergency signal, coded and encrypted. "What are you doing?" Ferric asked. "Sending word. To anyone who still thinks Deathworlders are a myth." Rax's voice was low, but calm. "Let them know, even the worst of us are not prepared." Behind him, on the main screen, a new shape emerged from the shadows of the Deathworlder vessel. A humanoid figure, impossibly still, stood on the exterior hull. No suit. No tether. Just standing there, watching. Its eyes pulsed. Rax stared at it, and for the first time in years, he felt the crack in his certainty. Not fear exactly, something older, deeper. The kind of primal respect only predators share in the wild. He leaned forward and whispered, "Tell the others." The figure raised a hand. The lights flickered. And the screen went black. The boarding pod hissed open like a beast exhaling its last breath. Smoke curled from the edges, dissipating into the sterile, dim corridor of the Deathworlder vessel. Kor stepped out first, rifle raised, helmet sensors sweeping the silence. Behind him, 6 others followed in disciplined formation, boots thudding softly against the unnaturally smooth floor. "This place is wrong," muttered Grask, one of the heavy gunners. His voice crackled through the comms. "Feels like the walls are listening." Kor didn't answer. He felt it too, a pressure in the air, as though the ship were alive, holding its breath. They advanced in silence, weapons at the ready. The ship was cold, its architecture minimal but unsettlingly precise. No bolts, no seams, no markings. Just flowing metal, grown or sculpted into shape, as if designed by a mind that had moved past functionality and into a philosophy of dominance. "Movement?" Kor asked. "None. No life signs," replied Yella, scanning with her ocular rig. "But the sensors keep flickering. Something's jamming us." The corridor split ahead, and Kor gestured left. As the team advanced, the lights overhead flickered, just for a second. When they stabilized, Grask was gone. "Grask?" Kor called, spinning. The spot where the man had stood moments before was empty. No blood. No sound. Just a faint scorch mark where his boots had touched the floor. "Backtrack. Sweep the last junction." They did. Nothing. Just air that felt too still. "I don't like this," Yella whispered. "Something's wrong with—" Her voice vanished. So did she. Kor cursed, turning on the spot, heart hammering. 4 left. No sound, no warning. No explanation. "Fall in. Tight formation," he barked. The remaining 3 formed a close triangle around him, eyes wide, fingers clenched white on their triggers. A low hum began vibrating through the floor. Not mechanical. Organic. It wasn't sound, it was sensation, a crawling pressure that moved up through their bones, into their skulls. Kor turned and fired down the corridor blindly. The muzzle flash lit up a figure for just a heartbeat, a tall, spindly silhouette that looked human, except for the way it moved, too smooth, too fast, like gravity itself had given it special permission. The shot struck nothing. The figure vanished before the light died. "They're in our heads," one of the troopers stammered. "No. They're in the walls," said Kor, half to himself. Back on the Black Claw Marauder, chaos bloomed. "Bridge, we've lost visuals. All signals are scrambled," Juna reported, pale and shaking. "We're blind." "They're not killing the signals," Ferric said. "They're controlling them." Rax stood still, silent, watching the forward window. The Deathworlder ship remained motionless. Serene. A monolith against the stars. "Pull them back," Ferric hissed. Recall the teams! No response, Juna whispered. All of them? Rax asked. Juna didn't answer. She didn't have to. Then the lights on the bridge flickered. A static-laced voice broke through the comms, barely recognizable, distorted and trembling. This is Core, don't come, don't, too fast, too smart, they're not soldiers, they're Apex. Then silence. Rax didn't curse. Didn't scream. Just clenched one fist, slow and controlled, as if squeezing out every last hope from between his fingers. They were supposed to be explorers, Juna said, dazed. Surveyors. Why are they fighting like this? They're not fighting, Rax replied. They're surviving. A deep, resonant thud echoed through the hull of the Marauder. Then another. Something heavy, deliberate, moving across the exterior. Cameras snapped to life, trying to triangulate the source. One finally caught a glimpse, something humanoid clinging to the ship's hull like a parasite. No suit. No weapon. Just a figure in black, with pale skin and glowing eyes. It was looking directly into the bridge camera. Juna recoiled. That's not possible. It's Deathworlder, Rax corrected. We don't define their limits. They do. The thudding stopped. The figure was gone. The crew stared at each other, breath shallow. Then, the ship's systems began shutting down one by one. Lights dimmed. Ventilation slowed. Consoles flickered and died. The sound of failure, of power being drained from the lifeblood of the ship, settled like a funeral shroud. From behind, a low alarm began to beep. Auto-destruct? Ferric asked, voice tight. No. That's not ours, Rax said. That's them. The command deck grew colder. A faint vapor curled from the vents. They're not trying to kill us, Juna said, wide-eyed. They're studying us. Or dissecting us, Ferric added grimly. No, Rax said softly. They already understand us. This is punishment. A single light on the main display flared to life. A message burned into the interface by unauthorized access. We warned you. The words flickered once, then disappeared. Then another. This was mercy. Everyone on the bridge stood frozen. A soft sound reached them, no louder than breath. Metal shifting. A whisper against hull plating. Like something exhaling in disappointment. Then the power returned. Lights surged. Consoles lit back up. The systems hummed to life, unchanged. Everything was back. Except the boarding team. All that remained was an empty channel and the memory of how easily they'd vanished. Juna stepped back from her console. Why did they let us go? Rax looked out the viewport. They didn't, he said. They're still here. They're just done watching. Behind them, on the screen, the Deathworlder vessel turned. Slowly. Silently. Then it vanished into warp without a flash, without a ripple, as if it had never been there at all. Rax lowered his head. Prepare a message, he said. Galactic Syndicate Command. Relay what happened here. Ferric raised an eyebrow. You want them to know we failed? No, Rax said. I want them to know something worse. What's that? That we never stood a chance. The station orbiting Varnak 12 was built like a fortress, bristling with turrets, shield generators, and layered armor thick enough to withstand planetary bombardment. It had never been breached. Not by pirates, not by warlords, not by Empire. And yet, today, the guards paced like ghosts, glancing over shoulders, fingers twitching over triggers. Inside the central command chamber, Admiral Sarek studied the decrypted message replayed for the 5th time. Each word struck harder than the last. This was mercy. The room was silent when the playback ended, save for the slow grind of his prosthetic fingers as they curled into a fist. The seasoned warrior's eyes, one organic, one artificial, remained locked on the final frame transmitted from the Black Claw Marauder, a still shot of that pale, expressionless figure watching from the void. You're sure the data wasn't manipulated? He asked without looking away. Commander Lyran stepped forward. Multiple redundancies. confirmed by 3 independent nodes. The Black Claw crew's logs match across every system. And the survivors? None. Just Rax, Juna, and Ferric. The others were lost on contact. Sarex finally turned. Define lost. Gone, sir. Not dead. Not injured. Just gone. No remains. No trace. Silence settled again. In a room of killers, soldiers, and tacticians, the unknown was the most dangerous presence. They didn't destroy the Marauder, Sarex said more to himself. They disabled it. Gave it back. Lyran nodded. A message. Or an invitation. Rax entered then, escorted by 2 guards but walking freely. He looked older than he had days ago, like something had been scooped out of him and replaced with weight. He saluted, but Sarex waved it off. I want to hear it from you. All of it. Rax stood tall. We were sent to intercept a Deathworlder survey ship. No intel. No profiles. Just orders. Within minutes of boarding, we lost contact. My second-in-command, Kor, managed to transmit one last message before he vanished. After that, they made contact. Not physically. Not directly. They infiltrated our systems. Took our ship apart piece by piece. Not to destroy it, but to show us they could. Sarex leaned forward. What did they want? They didn't want anything. They wanted us to understand. We are prey. The words hung heavy. Is that fear talking, Commander? Lyran asked. Rax met her gaze, unwavering. No. That's truth talking. Fear would have had us firing back. This was something else. And if we respond? Sarex asked. If we send fleets? Rax's voice was quiet. You won't hear back from them. Sarex looked at Lyran. Is he exaggerating? We've reviewed what data remains. Their ship evaded every sensor net. Their weapons, if that's even what they used, leave no signature. Their soldier moved faster than anything we've seen. We don't know what tech they're using. They're not using tech, Rax said. Not like we think. They've evolved alongside it. It's part of them. They don't fight with tools. They fight as one. Sarex turned back to the display. So why warn us? Rax hesitated. Because they've already decided. Decided what? That this galaxy is theirs now. The chamber was quiet again. Finally, Sarex exhaled. We need a response. Something visible. Strength. If you respond with force, Rax said, you'll be confirming their judgment. Lyran shifted. Then what do you propose? Send nothing. Watch. Listen. Learn. Survive. Sarex shook his head slowly. Cowardice. No. Adaptation. Juna entered then, uninvited, holding a data tablet. She looked shaken but focused. Sir? There's something new. Sarex gestured. Show it. She tapped the screen. A live feed shimmered into focus, a distant view of a Deathworlder ship in orbit around an uncolonized moon. It wasn't hiding. It wasn't cloaked. It simply waited. What's it doing? Lyran asked. Broadcasting a signal. Open band. Sarex raised a brow. Let's hear it. A voice crackled over the comms. Deep. Human. Calm. To those listening, you've seen what we are. You know now that this galaxy is not as safe as you believed. We are Deathworlders. We do not conquer. We endure. We do not hunt. We defend. But if you come again, if you send fleets and fire, there will be no warnings next time. Only silence. The message looped. Juna lowered the tablet. It's broadcasting across 12 sectors. Sarex looked again at Rax. They want us to think. Not retaliate. They want submission, Lyran said. No, Rax replied. They want peace. But they've already prepared for war. The Admiral turned back to the display, watching the silent ship against the stars. Then, almost too quiet to notice, he whispered, Gods help us if we make them prove it! From outside the command station, the black void stretched endless and empty. But somewhere in that dark, the Deathworlders waited, not as invaders, not as saviors, but as the new apex species. And the galaxy, whether it liked it or not, had begun to understand what it meant to be beneath them.